Good evening. My name is Dave Benjamin. I'm the co-founder and executive director of the Great Lakes Surf Rescue Project. We have 4 key areas that we work. We track the drownings in the Great Lakes. We teach Great Lakes water safety. We do school presentations, public presentations. We work with family and friends of drowning victims, like Matthew Coker, who drowned here, his family. We work with family of drowning victims that advocate water safety. We also provide open water surf lifeguard in-service training and first responder water rescue and water resuscitation training. A couple things were said in the media this week that were a little inaccurate. The one I want to address is that, the Great Lakes Surf Rescue Project only provided 2 hours of training for lifeguards, and we didn't even get it in the water. The thing is, we have an 8-hour intensive full day of training, of classroom, of beach physical training, of in and out of the water, run, swim, run, obstacle courses, run, swim tests, the full regimen of in and out, from the guard stand to the rescue, to bringing them in, to doing the full CPR on them. We put them through the full ringer. We trained with the International Surf Life Saving Association and the Lifeguards Without Borders. We had instructors from Huntington Beach, California, provide us with the training. We modeled their training specifically for the Great Lakes. When we track the drownings in the Great Lakes, 631 since 2010. On average, half of all Great Lakes drownings happen in Lake Michigan, and half of Lake Michigan drownings happen in the south end of Lake Michigan. So what does that mean? It means Lake Michigan is the most deadliest Great Lake, and the south end is the deadliest spot on the Great Lakes. New Buffalo is on the south end. We can look north and say, oh wow, nobody else has lifeguards. Wow, wide open, fast pace. But turn around, if you look the other direction, if we say like St. Joseph, Bethany Beach, New Buffalo, Michigan City, Indiana Dunes State Park, and Chesterton, West Beach, part of the National Lake Shore, Marquette Park, we can keep going. From St. Joseph all the way to Milwaukee, we have over 50 beaches with lifeguards. So to come up with the argument saying, well, nobody else has them, let's get rid of them, let's just not look behind us, right over here, the south end. The south end is the deadliest part. So I just wanted to get that, people don't know what they don't know. I just wanted to get that, some simple information that why we should have lifeguards. This is an opportunity, again, for New Buffalo to set the gold standard for Great Lakes water safety. Or it could be a nightmare when the first drowning happens, after lifeguards are removed, social media takes off, and you're on the world stage. So, thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity.
And we can get in contact with Dave
I will.
for the meeting.
Thank you.
Nora Howe.
Hi, my name is Nora Howe. After I heard the risk management person talk, I want to change my entire speech because I have so much to address, but I'm grateful now that there's going to be a meeting because one of the reasons I came to the budget meeting is because I felt there was not going to be any more opportunities to actually have a forum to understand this. And then our city manager actually did say, when I went in to speak to him, he said, now that we know this is an issue, we will have some public forums. So thank you for arranging that, so I appreciate that. I went to the Parks meeting last night, and I found out a lot of information and a lot of no information. It was a big eye-opener. I think that we're having some communication issues that we have to work on, and I'm always for communication. I think everybody in this room is for communication. I tried then to look at the budget, first of all, because I have this, and page 14 is the lifeguard budget, and Kate did a great job in the budget, by the way. She's our city treasurer. She did explain to me they had no information about 2014, 15, 15, 16, 16, 17 for budget. So we have no comparisons here. I do know the lifeguards, I think, were originally allocated last year 60,000. They only used 43,660. And I'm not sure, is that complete salaries? I'm not sure there's no breakout or breakdown of that. I'd like to see that. When I looked at the budget, I realized I don't see anywhere to replace these guards well, where's the line item on lifeguard station, life safety station? Where's the line item on having beach personnel working that? I don't see it in here, and maybe I'm not seeing it, but that would be great if the information we can explain that and where it might be in this budget. A lot of supplies are lifeguards looking over a lot of pictures last year and learning about the lifeguards and understanding about the beach log that was kept on incidents. There were a lot of, I was a teacher and I was always paying for our supplies. I think our lifeguards were always paying for their supplies. They had to buy all kinds of things. And there's a lot of misinformation about lifeguards in terms of using their cell phones. They were using their walkie-talkies. Years past, maybe 4 years ago or so, when I was at the parks, they were using their cell phones. Not this group, they were not using their cell phones. I was down at the beach a lot, unless they were required to use their cell phones for an emergency, as far as I can understand. I want to go on to the fact that I started looking at the employees and getting a more efficient way to get the employees, to use the money for employees. And one thing I know in the past, because we had somebody resign, is we had the parks and streets working together. The parks director is a supervisor of many, many things. Her list is huge compared to other departments. I would like to see her do that. I don't know how Kristen does it. It's a huge, enormous job, and she needs to be dedicated to that, and she needs to report directly to Dave Richards so he has the information correctly. There's a lot of stuff on in the city right now. No one person can handle this. She's in charge of all the parks, all the appointed people that work at that park, and we need this public forum to discuss that and understand how that's broken out. I would like to see that parks director job take on a new format. We need somebody experienced, certified, all those things, and Kristen, it could be you. Last thing I want to say is that as far as lifeguards are, there are first responders, there are ice at the beach, they are qualified, certified, and experienced. Maybe difficult to find hours because their hours were reduced last year, but we cannot balance the budget on the back of the lives of swimmers, not one life. Thank you.
Jarvis Tarnowski.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Jarvis Tarnowski. A lot of you may know me, a lot of you may not. I'm a high school senior. I was a lifeguard 2 years ago and just last year. And to Mr. Benjamin over there, we did do a whole circuit. I was pretty wet myself. That was a really good circuit. But one thing that really bothered me, what I saw, was that we were constantly reminded to not look at our cell phones. Last year, as me being the head lifeguard, my rule was if you wanted to be on your cell phone, you had to get down from the tower and you had 5 minutes. If it was something serious, you had to go up to the parking lot. And I saw a quote that said that we were young kids and that we were being constantly not to look at our phone and to be looked at and to watch the water. I don't agree with that. Nobody was up on the tower looking at their phone. There were 17 saves last summer. Not one person died. Not one. They were saved. Now 17 is a lot. That's a lot of drowns, but you can't stop the people from going in the water. That's government property. Without us being there last year, I'm sure more people would have died. I'm sure a lot more people would have been seeing bodies floating up from the shore. And that's not safe. Now, as the lake goes, we can't tell what the lake does. Like Mr. Benjamin said, it's all over the place. I'll never forget the first week I was out there. Every morning I would go out and test the water. I took 2 steps, complete drop-off. About 3 weeks later, you could walk out 15 feet, and then all of a sudden you'd start going down. 2 weeks later, it was like a wave underwater because you can't tell. So they said that they want to put buoys up that say, you're at 5 feet, you're at 10 feet, you're at 15 feet. That's smart, that's great. But with the lake and the currents, those buoys aren't going to stay. The buoys that we had that marked the end of the sandbar, they didn't stay. The waves just took them and who knows where they went. But back with the 17 saves, I was a part of those saves. And we did make reports. We have those reports in a red folder, and somehow that folder can't be found. And the lifeguard who made that red folder, because we've asked for one and we didn't get it approved, she made a whole CPR certified lifeguard #1, and I approved it. It was wonderful. It was what to do, how to do it. If somebody was in shock, if somebody needed CPR, and it was great. And we also, in the front of it, had reports. And I have witnesses that watched me fill out those reports. So there are reports somewhere in that lifeguard room, and I would like to go and get those reports, because I know where exactly they are. Does anybody have any questions for me?
Gentlemen, thank you, and again, if you could show up at this workshop.
Oh, absolutely.
Susan Godfrey.
Susan Godfrey. First, I want to thank you. I have 4 grandchildren, and I always felt, yeah,
Oh, you're welcome.
I always felt very safe having my grandkids down at the beach, and I never saw anyone on a cell phone. They were very, very attentive,
Thank you.
and they made me move my beach umbrella ones because I was in their way.
Right, we did that because we couldn't see the water.
Right.
We didn't want some little kids slipping out.
Right. And so, I really appreciate it. And the other thing is, I didn't come here to speak about that, but I heard on my blog, and I don't know anything about this, but somebody said that Holland has a nonprofit organization, and they fund the nonprofit organization so that is how they fund the lifeguards. And it might be a way of putting that divider between the city and a liability issue. I don't know. It's something to consider. Maybe somebody could talk to Colin and find out for sure. I don't know for sure. But I did want to, it's interesting that the risk management man is here, because in 2013, there was an embezzlement of park funding. And because of that embezzlement, the risk management company worked with our police chief and created a policy and provided funding so that the police could monitor all of the open public offices here with both audio and video cameras. And it was to monitor the activities of the employees, because there had been embezzlement, and also of the customers. Since then, the current employees took the cameras and moved them into the city manager's office instead of having the security cameras monitored by the police. And once I asked for a copy of a DVD from out in the parking lot when I was harassed by one of the city employees, and they said that didn't exist. So I don't know if the parking lot is no longer being monitored, but you're asking the people who are supposed to be monitored to now have the equipment and monitor themselves. And that doesn't seem correct, especially since you guys paid for the funding for all this equipment so the police could monitor. Now it's all been wiped away, that whole monitoring system. You change the policy. Every 30 days, you can wipe away all of the former videos being taken. There you have a risk management issue, and there is a drop in park funding, a big drop in park funding for the next 4 years. Where is that money? Why is that lower? We don't know, but we don't know because maybe it's because we don't have monitoring equipment anymore. You guys pay for it. You should have that here.
All right, thanks, Sue. Bob Pratt.
Good evening. My name is Bob Brown. I'm the Director of Education for the Great Lakes Surf Rescue Project. Just to speak to some of the issues that Mr. Van Dorn brought up, and Dave Benjamin, our Executive Director, mentioned the number of beaches. There are scores of beaches between St. Joseph, Michigan, and Milwaukee, Wisconsin, that have guarded beaches. As a matter of fact, the majority of the beaches are guarded. It is indeed difficult to recruit lifeguards, trained lifeguards, skilled lifeguards. I'd ask you what steps have been taken to recruit guards. If you're going to discuss this at a meeting a month from now, you're behind the 8 ball. Most of the agencies that I'm aware of that we talk to and deal with on a regular basis have already hired more than half of their staff, and they're in the process of hiring the other half and training them. He made immunity sound like it was a detriment, but sovereign immunity is actually a huge bonus for municipalities because it protects you from liability. A private beach would have to have simple negligence in order to bring a lawsuit. In a municipality, it has to be gross negligence. And I'd ask all of you to look at the case, the Michigan Supreme Court case of the estate of William Beals versus the state of Michigan. It's a drowning that occurred at a state facility. It was a pool, but it's still applicable. And the Supreme Court ruled that because the lifeguard wasn't the cause of the death, wasn't the proximate cause, the main reason that the person drowned, that they were not liable for that. There is indeed a duty to warn. But as Mr. Robertson pointed out, the lake changes like that. Who's going to change the flags on the beach? How is that going to happen? I've been to Warren Dunes State Park a lot, and I see they have green flags flying when there's rough weather because it just blew in within the last 15, 20 minutes. They have red flags flying, even though the water is perfectly flat and calm because there's no one there to change the flags. You mentioned the sympathetic jury, and I'd ask you to put yourself in a situation where a municipality had lifeguards, funded lifeguards, trained lifeguards, and then removed them because of liability, and there was a fatal drowning, versus a situation where the community maintains their lifeguards and trains them to the best of their ability, and the lifeguards perform to the best of their ability, and there was still a fatal drowning that happened. In my opinion, if I were sitting on the jury, I would be very sympathetic to a municipality that provides the lifeguards and trains them, and they do it to the best of their ability, rather than one that turns their back on safety and says, we can't have lifeguards because they're a liability. The chances of a drowning at a guarded facility, according to the United States Life Saving Association, is 1 in 18 million. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Bob. I'm going to go ahead and close the public comment portion of the meeting. Move on to unfinished business. We have 2 ordinances that are up for final reading and decisions. First one's alcoholic beverage prohibited sale ordinance number 226. I'm going to go ahead and make a motion to approve that for final reading.